probably
Good
get me on
morning,
the
everyone, and
camera.
thank you for coming to our meeting today. It amazes me, every meeting our group seems to get bigger. We have almost 200 people here today, and I just think that's wonderful. Is there anybody in the group who's here for the first time? Welcome. We are glad that you're here. We're ASCUS, Arizona School Computer User Support, and we have a new logo, and some of the members had asked us, the board members, to wear different shirts so that you could find us. So we're all in these purple shirts. We have our new logo. You've probably seen it on the website. It says Ask Us, because that's what we're here to do, is to help each other. When you start conversations among your at your table when we have a break, so that you can talk to people if you need some information. When we break up into our user groups this afternoon, connect with people who use the same software that you do, so that you can get your questions answered and get some support. If you don't know anybody, if you have a question, some of us get embarrassed with some of the questions we ask, I understand that. Send me an email and I will forward that to a person that I know can help you. I often get emails from elementaries, and I haven't had to do elementary for 11 years, so I send those on to elementary districts, because I just do high school now. But I will make sure that your question gets to to a person I think is going to be able to help you. We have a very full agenda. I think that's why there are so many people here, because we have Mark Masterson to address the new SACE requirements and some other items. Gloria Ventura is here to do our ADE Connect demonstration, and Sarah Mahoney's here to discuss student-teacher course connection. And I have asked her to also bring us some very specific information about how this data is going to be used in the future, so that we can get prepared for that. I have only one thing to mention, and that is the dark time is over, because spring training started yesterday.
Yeah!
I'm even sunburned from sitting in the sun at Camelback Ranch. I forgot to put sunscreen on. So, thank you again for coming, and I will introduce to you now Mark Masterson, the CIO of ADE.
I love to wander. How many people have been to a Southern revival?
Oh, good God. I'm not going to admit it.
I could whip out my Southern accent, but I've been here 10 years. And, but I want everybody to be pumped up. Because I remember 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago, when I came to this thing, and I was not pumped up. Because you guys bust in to tell me how bad we were. And I'm not saying we're good, but what I want to do to start this off is I'd like people to stand up that participated in the building of the SIS RFP in any shape and form. However, if you'd only showed up at one meeting, I'd love you to stand up. Ain't nobody here?
I'm not going to take blame for it.
There they are. What are you afraid of? They deserve the recognition, because this state has just done a 1,200 requirement RFP. They have sat now, have done demos. I can't tell you a whole lot. But I can tell you that these people worked really, really hard. Really hard. They worked hours a day. How boring to read thousands of pages. And to be critical, because you guys said this is what you wanted. What we're going to end up rolling out in 2 months. Thereabouts. You said this is what you want. Now I know this is a 10-year journey. There'll be LEAs that say I want it yesterday, and then there'll be LEAs that want it in 10 years. But it's yours. It wasn't designed by ADE. It was designed by the people like yourselves in this room. You should celebrate the amount of stuff that we've done. And I'm going to say we. ADE didn't do anything. All ADE is a focal point. Who does everything every day? Right here. Not me. Who makes sure that the students are accurately in the systems? Who manages to make sure that SACE still run? I don't like to mention SACE. I don't like to mention SACE, but I have to. You guys are the ones in there, and now you're seeing some stuff coming. You're seeing this thing called EdFi. Oh my God, this is fear. FUD. Does anybody know what FUD is? Fear, uncertainty, and doubt. But let me talk to you about that. What's going to happen to change? I want you all to start thinking about 2024. Why? 2024.
I'm retiring.
The path that I've gone down the last year or two, I might not be alive. But this is not me. It's not about me, right? It's why are you working every day? I hope it's about the kids. I'm hoping it's about the teachers and the kids. That's why you're here. Because I'm scared. I just went to a conference, and I left education for about 3 days, and went sitting with executive CIOs from all over the country, and we talked. And it scared the crap out of me. In the rooms where all the technology that's being built, and that scared the crap out of me. Because there's stuff that you ain't seen. I'm going to put something in your mind for the ladies in the room. How do you buy your clothes? You go to a store, you check them out, you try them on. How many of them buy them online? I don't want to have a hand, but some of you might risk it. And then the fear of putting, clothes and shoes, something that's not really transitioned online. We're not afraid of buying TVs and electronics and computers. We do that pretty good. But let me tell you the future. You all have cameras on your computer. The cameras will be able to take a complete body picture of you. Know your complete size, shape, and everything. You will pick out the fabric, the colors, and see it in a living color, and it will be delivered to you by the next morning. And if you need something right away, you have a high-dollar printer, 3D printer, you print it for yourself. If you don't believe this, you better. Because let me tell you what I've lived. I've been in IT for 30 years. I started on punch cards, okay, on a Burroughs Sperry mainframe. It was Burroughs. And then I moved to IBM, and I'm a COBOL programmer, JCL, CICS. I'd never admit that. I had to learn all these languages. I had to change, because if I didn't change, what would happen? But guess what? Change was slow. In the 70s to 80s, change isn't slow now. We don't have a choice. It's not us that gets to stand around. We're here for the kids, right? What scares me, malls aren't going to be here. They're all gone. What's the labor force going to be? You've got to be thinking about this because it's coming fast. Why do I have a phone in my hand? Did this exist 10 years ago? I had a phone 10 years ago. It didn't look like this. I had a good Motorola. Motorola's not in business. My family grew up in Motorola. It ain't there. So companies have changed. Companies have gone away. Everything has changed and it's moving fast. It used to be a curve like this. But what I saw was the curve is like this. It's straight up. This happened in 5 years. The technology, robots. I don't know how many of you watched the original Terminator. I used to teach college in the 1980s. And I saw that movie. I don't know, it was in the early 80s it came out. And is that possible? Humans are so smart, we're smart enough to design something smarter than us. These things can exist, and it can move fast. And what do you have to do for our kids to prepare them to be ready for this technology in 12 years? Kids entering first grade. Will universities be the same? I bet they don't exist like they exist today. You'll be able to take classes anywhere, any place, anytime, anywhere. You can now, but people are still fearful. You don't even need to pay for college now. You've heard of MOOC, which is online courses that are taught by Stanford and MIT professors. Free. This is what's changing. I don't want to scare you, but I want to tell you that you guys got to help us be prepared. What does that have to do with an SIS? What does that have to do with ALIS? Because Arizona Education Learning Accountability System is to help us get our kids prepared. We have to move fast because where is education? 1980s and 90s. We need to help our kids be prepared. They're more prepared than us. I don't know about you, give a 2-year-old an iPhone and they'll figure it out. Give it to us, or give it to me. I use the basic functions. You know? Then I get pissed off when I forgot how to do something. I have to go Google it. Google it. Remember when we had to use the encyclopedia? I don't know about you, but I wrote reports in an encyclopedia in a Royal typewriter. I'm talking manual. It wasn't an IBM Selectric, although I did take a typing class in high school because that's where all the ladies were. That was the coolest class. Because I really sucked. Come on over, help me. God, I did relive that class all over again. ALIS. This is what and I know there's fear. What am I going to do? I've been doing SACE and I've been doing what you guys do. Do you think that's going away? It's going to change. But it's not going away. It can't. What you do has got to be there, and probably more so. Because we got to move. Where does technology need to be? In the classrooms. Who's going to support all that? Who's going to help them? Who's going to make sure that it gets done? Who's doing the last mile? Technology that's software that sits somewhere else, who cares? What do we need is people in the classroom using technology fast. We should be with clickers, or we should have phones, and we should be taking tests on the phone. We should be able to just real time, all that information is flowing around. The teacher knows exactly who doesn't know something and not just wait until they fail reading when they take names. Because we need people. I mean, the president yesterday I forgot what the name of his initiative was, but it's a really good one, right? To bring up, to help mentor children that might not have a father, or they're disrupted families. What a concept to try to step in. We got to disrupt. We've got to figure out how to disrupt our system in order to get more engineers, more medical people. Medicine's always going to be around. How is it going to be done? 2024. You don't need to go to the doctor. The doctor will visit you through a hologram. You'll sit there next to your computer, it'll take your blood pressure, it'll take your blood test. You just drop a blood into it. Think about the tech change. It's going to change. Are you going to embrace it, or are you going to think and bury your head in the sand? If you bury your head in the sand, you won't be there. It will wipe you out. But if you embrace it, you will be the future. I had to embrace change my whole career. I told you I started on punch cards. Are there anybody using punch cards? They're in the Smithsonian. I think that's the last one. There is a lot of COBOL still being used because they can't figure out how to get off of it. I ran mainframes for a company, and I always thought, how the hell am I going to recruit people? They don't teach this anymore. You know, up in Sun City, I guess I could say I'm going to have a nurse and I'll give you a plug-in. I don't know, but I mean, this change is coming. And that's why I want you all to not be afraid, because it needs you, it doesn't need me. I was the instrument for 2 years. I was the person that started this and moved it. It's you that will implement it. It's you that will either stand up and help your districts become what they need to be to help our kids. That's why I'm here. I didn't get rich in this job. I was just with all of the CIOs that signed $3 million contracts for 3 years. I didn't get one of them. But we need, and that's my message to them, we need more of that in here. Because we can really make a change, and that's you. So, I can't talk a lot about this, but I want to tell you enough that you don't feel like I'm hiding stuff. So we've gone through the demos with vendors, and we're now going to enter into a phase of negotiation. Okay? That's the least fun, but it's the most important. The state has some very good negotiators. We have proven that, we've learned. And we'll make sure that the state has the both, but you gotta negotiate two ways, right? If you negotiate it so far that the state wins and the vendor loses, is that a good contract? Because you lose anyway. So it's gotta be a win-win for both parties. So why? Because we want this to last for 10 years. We don't want to be pissed off with what we, not the state, we chose. Because someday your district may need something. I need a new one because we're up for contract and we need to evolve. That's when we would be able to help you. So that's where we're at, and I plan on an award hopefully by the end of April. Because there's some LEAs that really need something now. Bad, we gotta move fast. But I don't want to do too many. I want to screw up early. Because what we're going to need is a team, and I'm looking for people. So if you know people that have energy to put up with me, because you got to remember how I am, so you better ask people who work with me. I don't move slow. I'm a high-paced person. But I'm looking for people to help us implement. Because we're not just going to turn this over and say, vendor, go do it. We're going to be partners. And why is that important? Because we have to make sure it sticks, that training is there. We don't just drop it off and say goodbye. We got to be there to help train. I love your new thing. I love this new Ask Us. That's awesome. Because that's what you guys should be, is Ask Us. Because that's what you do for your districts. They ask you for help, and you give it to them. We need to make sure when we roll out an SIS or the learning management system or the content management system, because ALIS is a lot. You've seen ADE Connect. That's just the start. I'm moving everything off Common Logon into a new framework. All the old reporting is going to be gone. There'll be daily views by next year, early next year. I hope to have stuff running by the end of 16 that I can be parallel running SACE and the future by the end of 15. And will it be different? The numbers will match. I already know that. Because we will now have unwound the thing that we called SACE, and we'll have created rules based on what the law says in interpretation today that IT has nothing to do with. That lawyers and people should, and the business should say that's what that rule is. And our year during parallel, we want to make sure that the LEAs know what the change is, right? And then we cut over at 16 and it's real. We just turn off. And it's all part of this, but it's sort of, it's opt-in, right? I talked about that. This is not mandatory. The benefits to this is that your uploads are a whole lot easier for me. But if you don't opt in, I'm coming to get the data anyway through EdFind. We're working with 4 vendors initially, and there's a whole lot more in the state, but we figure I believe in a philosophy: fail early, fast, so that you can learn and not do it 13 times. So we have a whole lot of vendors that we need to move, but eventually, if you're not on the state SIS, you will be on EdFi, which means the data will come up. But here's the benefit to your districts. I don't call you for data. Your districts don't get bothered by the department. And here's the other thing. We have a whole stream of lawyers making sure we protect, because here's what I'm very big on. Who owns the data? The parent. Not us. God, is this thing just moving? Did you get all that? Ask us. So,
That's that fast pace of yours.
yeah, I know. I'm just vibrating out of my body. But you guys, the things that is going to allow us to be able to do is allow you to focus on the kids. you to focus on the technology for the schools because it's going to be all done through technology. There's still teachers. And what about the teachers that are going to be teaching from faraway places because we're going to have to deliver technology to places that you can't get teachers? Have you looked at the age of our teacher workforce? I'm not saying they're old. But they can retire. They can retire. And is there a line out the door for people coming in? Not until we fix their pay. You know, anybody that's got any common sense knows that we don't pay for what they do every day. It's only I look at them as like fire, policemen. You know, they're first responders, teachers. Because when you do that, you do it because it's in your heart. It's like people that serve in the military. They don't get paid to serve in the military to go get shot. They do it because it's in their heart. They do it because of patriotism. They do it for other reasons. That's when I look at this, and I didn't look at the education that way. You know, I came in as this really structured, business person, and you guys made me liberal. I'm still fiscally conservative. However, I've really got in touch with what's important, and you guys helped me do that. And so I want you to, and I spent a little too much time on talking about it, but change is going to come. Don't let it hit. You know, my dad used to tell me, don't let the door hit you in the ass. Don't. It will come, and it's not because of me. It's because of what's going on out there. You're seeing change, and you can't stop it. Christmas shopping. Are you doing it online? Isn't that awesome? I get up in the morning, go to my computer, and I'm done. Now, I'm a guy that doesn't like to shop. My wife will go through depression, withdrawal, probably. They'll have whole new kinds of hospitals for people that are shopaholics. So I've talked about this, but what is this? Wow, that's complex, and you can't read it. So there's an eye test here for you. But we've given a specification to the vendors in the state, all 13. The Michael and Dell's Foundation has provided us enough funding to start this year with 4 vendors. So they're helping us put this down. I'll just look at it and move forward. They've given us enough money to start to work with those vendors, and they're gonna. Somebody's got a timer on this thing. Shut up, Mark. Move. You're out of here in 30 minutes. 20 minutes. Okay. Back to where we were. God.
In the future, Mark, what'll happen is your hologram will just go away when your time's up.
Yeah. That's scary. Zip. So I'm this is crazy. Okay, but basically what we're doing is having a common language now. I'm not telling vendors to change their software. They probably will. But I want to speak in a common language so we can move it. What is the purpose of this? Is to move transcripts around the state. But who owns the data? The parent. The parent has to initiate it. I envision a parent signing in a losing district to say that I'm leaving, and they have to sign something electronically, which then signals me to move, and then it signs in at the new district. So it's like a backpack, electronic backpack for a parent. Because the parent loans the data to who? A district, to you. That's who they loan it to. You've got, Glenn going to talk about ADE Connect. ADE Connect's purpose is to build a wall, security wall. Only people who can see certain things can see it. We'll build transaction processing so that we will know who touched what data. So that if the district calls, have you been looking at my data? We'll be able to tell you who looked at my data. That's to protect you and the parents. And that's something the superintendent's he's very interested in privacy. Because it's not ours. It's now, the state and feds say we have to have certain data. So that we have to get, and then hopefully we have the Staples Easy button and we push it and give it to the feds. And then again, it's not bothering you. It just happens. Now, is this going to be easy? Are we going to screw it up? Is it going to be perfect the first minute? No. And we ask for your patience. But if we get it right and listen to you, because you'll tell us, because you did during student course teacher goes away. This is student course teacher. But that takes one thing out of your way that's been hard. But does it take away data governance? No, because where does the data collection start? You. One thing student course teacher taught me is we really need data governance in the LEA. We need to teach, because we give the most responsibility to the person that has the most busiest life, the front desk of a school. You got to enter this record, and you're getting bothered 13 times in 5 seconds because there's a bloody nose, there's a kid beating another kid up, the principal wants something, and we ask them to put it in. So hopefully you can help them figure out how to do this better. If you, to me, centralized registration would work better. That way you have somebody that's professional. That doesn't work if you spread out 500 miles. But somehow we got to figure, and there'll never be a point, I don't ever think, I hope, that we have codes that you walk in the door and we know you. I hope that never happens. But you're going to have to enter the data right. And the only way to do that, you own it. And if the data is wrong in our system, we can't change it. You got to change it. And that comes back to you. So the work is not going away. It's just different. And you'll have a lot more reports that you've designed to tell us to be able to look at so you know where the data's bad. We've done this because this is how I told you I came from supply chain. So I designed a supply chain system. That's all this is supply chain. And it's designed to be a loop. You've always seen quality circles and all this other stuff that you learn about it, you redo. That's the design behind this. Gosh darn it. Standardizes and streamlines the, well, I don't need to read it to you. You read it 15 times, it went by. Allows, so I don't need to read that. You know what it's going to do. How many people are using our dashboards? Hands up high, let's be proud of this. So more people there, and I know Lori's going to say, there's more of you in here.
There is. There should be more hands.
Now, it's going to take who's going to help us train? Can't be us. We need to train trainers. That's our job, is to train trainers. Your job is to train. Hey, was that good? Must be break time. You guys must be hungry. Do me a favor, just put me on that slide. Come on. God, it even turned itself off. I said, go already. Yeah, next time I won't have to even show up. Yeah, well, so I'm going to stand here and control this.
You are?
So this is what we want to release in our first version. Is that all student stuff? Well, most of it is. This is to help us get safe. That's what it's designed for. Our first release event ties for kids.